All right, everyone. Once again, this is that Thursday. And as you know, we've been creeping closer and closer to the new love event, finding that love, because we always talk about it here in this conscious community that there is some things going down, that there are so many of us who wants to speak and talk love and just don't have love. So we're going to be going a little deep today, and we got some great people here today. And so, of course, I know a lot of have been asking, are there other women or women on our panels and talking about? And yes, we've heard you, and yes, that has always been our intention. And so you met Desiree, and with here with Brother Dream in the past, but today we got Quanis. I had an opportunity to go to her Instagram page and her new books and things that she have out. So y'all want to go check that out for sure. But the vibe, the woman got the vibe. So we're going to be talking today. Of course, y'all know Brother Joseph here and Brother Dream, and we're here. So we're going steamrolling toward August the 8th here in Dallas, Texas. Quanis is going to be flying down here with us as well. So y'all get to meet more energetic people and just meet some great people that's going to be here with us. And you know what we're planning on doing? We know one person, and it could be you, is going to walk away with your love from this event. I guarantee you that. You're going to meet your person when it comes down here. Now, get me wrong. We got animal totems. You're here in Texas. We got cows. We got all kinds. You can meet your love cow, too. Just whatever. We're going to go with it. So, Quanis, first of all, it's my pleasure for us meeting. Like I said, I've been in your Instagram pages and just kind of really see your vibe. And today we're going to be talking about, healing from past relationships. And then, of course, I'm going to add a little caveat to that, and that is when to move on to the new one.
Hey.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people, I think, I was talking to a dear friend of mine yesterday, and one of their concerns was they were meeting a new person that they are having, conversation with. And it was just, hey, the person had just got out of a relationship. And I was like, that rebound thing and all of these things, this is real, and if you've been known and experienced that before, sometimes you just gotta, in spite of the story that someone tell you it was just some horrific past relationship. Oh, I've just been in bondage for 5 years with this person. Now we broke up. It's not, there's also trauma bonding too, and that ain't just broken there. So anyway, before we even get started a little bit, tell us a little bit about you, your journey, Quanis. And I know you're in Atlanta. Everybody's there. Everybody lives in Atlanta. So just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Everybody does live in Atlanta. It is, I said, it's interesting the way the spirits call so many of us to this one place. So I'm interested just see what happens with the energy of the city over the next couple of years. But my name is Kawanis. I'm born and raised in Atlanta. I guess you can say in regards to what we're talking about today, my work centers around pattern recognition, coming back to wholeness. I tend to assist people through transitional phases. And so this could look like a lot of my clients, they first come to me out of a relationship, trying to reconnect with themselves, figure out who they are. Um, I do a lot of ancestral healing work, energy medicine, counseling, retreats. I'm a medicine woman as well. I'm trying to keep it short. I'm trying to keep it
Hey,
short,
take your
just
time.
just
Take
for
your time.
motion. So those are a couple of things about me. But I'm grateful to be here talking about relationships with you all today because the stars are just aligned for us to learn to relate to one another in another way, especially romantically.
Well, have you ever just came across, and this is how all of this started for us anyway, that we, or even myself personally, we started noticing that there was this separation, I thought or felt in our community, of this awakeness that everyone is supposedly be on the journey. And it almost like we all are getting so good that everybody want to be alone. Oh, I don't need nobody. I don't need nothing but the Zen. And it's like, man, this love thing or this conscious is not so much one mind, one source. It's just one person, and have you experienced that talking to people where people now just to a point, well, I don't want anybody else. I don't even want it. And they start using the word, I don't want another human. It's like, it evolves. So what have you dealt with
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, I see that all the time, and I understand it from one angle because what we have just transitioned through collectively is an era where people really needed to understand who they were outside of the context of another person.
Mm.
So even people who have been in relationships, I'm pretty sure that that is something that is collectively we've all been experiencing. Who am I outside of the context of relating to another person? Now, what some people have done is taken that to the deep end of, like you said, just a thought that they don't need another human. And like I said, I see it all the time. And what I remind people of is that there is a relationships are part of our spirituality.
Yeah.
There are just certain things that we cannot experience about ourselves unless we are in company with another person who's able to even mirror us in a certain way.
Mm.
So to try to bypass the uncomfortable mirror effect of being in relationship with another person is a level of spiritual bypassing. So I
Mm.
look at it that way with, the conscious people who say I don't need another human. It's almost trying to bypass a level of what you're here to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Fire.
with you on that. What about you, Desiree, on that?
Actually, I haven't heard or I haven't worked with people too often recently that are saying they don't want to be in a relationship. Um, but like Kwana said, I've definitely in the past have known people to just be avoidant, right? And not want to do the work that comes with that. And we see that in a multitude of ways, right? I know people that resist doing things like fasting or meditating. They resist things that are good for them because they don't want to do the work. So yeah, I haven't worked with anybody too recent that is holding that perspective, but I definitely know that it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brother Joseph, do that kind of show up in the tribe? I mean, I know you do a lot of consultations and your conversations get pretty deep with people, especially when it comes down to finding this perfect partner. And I don't know why I use the word perfect. And it looks like because we're in the conscious community, they better be perfect. They better have the right energy, the right this, the right that. It's like no one is looking at where they was into where they are now. And so what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's so funny. I just got off the phone with my homegirl just an hour and a half ago talking about this same topic, and I was telling her, don't give up, because that's what love is about. Love is about being vulnerable, but the thing is, people don't want to change. They don't want to transform. They don't want to let love transform them. Love is also a teacher. It's going to teach you. So if you've been in a bad relationship, it doesn't mean that all men are bad. Doesn't mean all women are bad. It means that you're just not learning something. And if you can just sit there and learn that lesson, whether you're a man or a woman, you learn that lesson, then you don't have to go through the same things, and you can keep your heart open. What happens is, like I said, people are hardcore. They're hell-bent on how they feel and what they want out of life and forget what everybody else wants. And that brings, well, I don't want to be in a relationship no more with nobody else. I give up. Well, no, you just got to conform. You got to be able to do the give and take thing with people, because that's what love is all about. Let it transform you. You know what I'm saying? And people don't want to be transformed. That's my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of times what happens, Roderick, is that it's that monkey see, monkey do thing. So a lot of times people are just grabber honors. They just want to follow the trend, follow the crown. I'm single. It's bad girl season, all of that stuff, and they just want to be, part of the trend, part of the programming. They call it
Decentering men.
No, they call it
for women. That's
they call it. Yeah, that's some what that, and then the thing with the goddesses. What's the one with the passport bros? And then you know what I mean. It's all automatically. So everything is happening culturally. They're trying to attack a certain group, right? A certain people that is the gods of this earth, and they don't want us to come back into that Aset Osar energy, right, which is our divine right and power to rule our world, not the world, but our world. So I think it's a play, like you was talking about, Joseph. A lot of these podcasts are COINTELPRO. You feel me? Agent Smith, and we got to look out for
Right.
that. Yep.
Mhm.
Well, I want to kind of lead us into, of course, our conversation is, healing past or healing from past relationships. Now, how do a person from you all's perspective will know that they're healed anyway? Because most of us is gonna do a self check, and you're gonna just, well, I just feel like I'm over it, but or her or he or whoever they with. But at the same time, too, you can end up talking with somebody and they can talk about their ex, and then immediately you just because they're talking about, oh, they're not healed. It's like, so what's the catch-22 there? If you are going to meet someone, how would you know that they're actually healed? But you ask them about their ex, right? And all of a sudden they're telling you, and then you go, well, you know what? You ain't healed. It's like you asked, it's like whatever. So any one of y'all can take it on first, but we'll go around the room on that one. And I'm here learning lessons. So go ahead. Okay, I'm gonna initiate. Qualis, you can go ahead and go first. Let's go.
I'll go. I was waiting. So I have an interesting take on that, on the whole healed and not healed thing, because as I shared earlier, there are just certain things that you're not going to be able to do outside of a relational context, period. So as it pertains to a person bringing up their ex or talking about the situation, I've been in contact with people who are at different layers of reconciling past situations that happened with an ex while they are still inside of a relationship with someone else. And what I found is, rather than them needing to be fully healed from that situation, their partner was able to support their process. So I look at it less of, have you fully healed from this? And more so of, one, are you able to support, are you supporting yourself through this process? Rather than allowing whatever it was that happened in that last relationship to infiltrate the new bond. Like, do you have enough awareness of what this process meant for you and what you were supposed to learn in order to protect your new bond from feeling like the reason why your last relationship ruptured in the first place, as far as the healing necessary? But then on the other hand, do you have a supportive party that's able to support you in whatever it is that you're healing, from a place to where they're willing to, rather than feeling like they're like it's a burden, or I didn't come here to help nobody with that. I didn't come here to teach nobody that, which I hear often as well. I'm not teaching them that. I'm not about to help them with that. Is that narrative is why people think they need to be fully healed before they come into a relationship. But I feel like everyone, there is someone that is willing to help you work through, or someone who is equipped to handle whatever you have. So I don't necessarily view it as like fully healing, just a matter of what you're equipped to handle.
Gotcha.
Very true, and great point. And I believe, and I've experienced the same exact thing. It is through our relationships that we really get to exercise that quote unquote healing. You know what I mean? So I think people stop themselves from experiencing the love, the growth, the transformation that they're supposed to have, because they're waiting on being completely healed, not understanding that you won't even have that realization until you are triggered again in a relationship, right? It takes the relationship experience for you to fully realize that growth and that development. And a lot of times, it's not even just the past relationship that people are healing from in their current unions. You may be healing from mother wounds, father wounds, rejection wounds, all of these different things. And it definitely requires having a person who, like you just said, Kiwanis, is willing to carry that with you. You know what I mean? Is willing to support you in that process, and is willing to give you the grace that you need to continue evolving. So it's not a one-stop shop. I'm done. I don't have to deal with that again. In fact, I truly believe Spirit allows us to have similar experiences for us to know if we're going to revert back to that old way of thinking, being, and existing. Yeah.
All right. Then are we missing the word rebound?
Rebound.
You never heard of that? Oh, y'all young folks now. Okay, we're
Yeah, we done heard of it before.
I'm trying to
I mean,
remember.
y'all shocked. Like rebound? What's that? Basketball? What are we talking about? No, rebound. Sometimes you can get with somebody else to get over somebody else.
Oh,
The fact that I mean, come on now. We've seen that, or well, us gray hairs, we know about that.
I'm damn near like Dennis Rodman in this thing, huh?
Yeah. Hey, and like he said, the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody.
Mm.
Terrible.
I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying?
That's old school. That's old school stuff. I know y'all won't know that. Yeah.
Let me say this, man. And ladies, y'all forgive me because I'm a man and I may be a little bit too rough. You know what I'm saying? As far as what I'm about to say. And that's the thing, men are not nurturers. We're not nurturers, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say it like this. When I started my spiritual journey, I was extremely suicidal. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to kill myself all the time. I'm just gonna keep it open up because we're talking about triggers.
Mhm.
We're talking about healing, right? And a lot of that came from me not feeling worthy. I felt worthless as a man, and my wife had nothing to do with it. It's just growing up, I never felt like I had a purpose. And I think the reason why I was suicidal because I wanted a purpose and I didn't have nothing to give to the world. And all I knew was Christianity. So, my wife would go to church and I would stay at home and I would cry. People don't notice. I would just be on the floor crying, oh, woe it's me, the world hates me and all this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to realize the only thing that pulled me out of that was I had to realize I'm not going to get no help. That's just me, right? At this moment, this severe moment I'm at, I'm not going to get no help. And I put a gun to my head a few times. My wife knew this, right? And people might be surprised to hear anything about the else. But I'm only saying this because I've been through some extreme trauma. You know what I'm saying? And what really pulled me out of it, and it may not be everybody's thing, right? And I'm going to compare this to relationships. What pulled me out of was I realized nobody's going to save me. And if I want a better life for my wife, if I want to pull her into a black cloud every day, I need to fix myself. And I can't depend on her to nurture me. Now, depending on the situation, of course, some men can depend on their wives to help them through it, right? But I knew my situation was different, right? And I needed to, and she would have nurtured me without a shadow of a doubt, but would it have worked or would it have prolonged it? You see what I'm saying? So I'm big on, I look at relationships like this. Depending on what the situation is a person been through, I think that, yes, let's work through it. Let's support each other. You know what I'm saying? To help you get past what it is. But when it comes to certain things like respect, right? I don't want you to blame your triggers on you not respecting or calling me a bitch or calling another man a bitch because you got triggered. I've seen people do that. And I don't want to bring this up, but I'm going to have to. I had a good friend of mine that was a narcissist, right? And for years, I was convinced that he was changing, right? I supported him. And this is no lie. Everything I'm saying in front of the celestial court of the spirit world, God knows I'm telling the truth. I supported him. I believed in his journey. And then all it took was, and this is what I noticed, y'all, as I grew, and this may happen in relationships, right? As I grew to another level, he couldn't go with me because he was not willing to change. And he blamed it on his triggers. To the point when we had our big dispute, he told me, brother, you triggered me. That's why I spazzed out. And I had to tell him, you can't blame me for constantly being triggered. You can't keep blaming me for that. Eventually, we got to grow up. And what I'm saying is, in some relationships, there are certain triggers, right? Not all of them, because you could definitely coach people through triggers, but certain triggers that you're going to keep growing and a person can't go up there with you. And it's going to mess up your relationship because you're going to realize this person's being a victim. They don't want to change because they're comfortable here, right? They're comfortable here and they don't want to change. And you have to be wise enough to see that. And sometimes that can draw people apart, right? So, and I still love this person to this day, even though they hate me, right? But this comes from anger and frustration. So because you grew and a person couldn't go with you, you kind of have to let that person go, right? You got to understand everybody's trigger ain't for you to nurture. Certain triggers are. You help a person through it. Your lady been raped before, she been molested, and she got a trigger, you help her through that.
Mhm.
But if she can't respect you, or vice versa, ladies, if your boyfriend can't nurture you, if he can't respect you as a woman, and he blames it on his triggers because his mother was never there, or his sister touched him when he was there, you got eventually you can't sit there and suffer with somebody. Relationships are about let's learn to relate to each other and let's grow. You can't. If I'm helping you through your triggers, you got to be willing to grow with me. You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
yes, there are certain triggers in life. Let's help each other through it. But when it comes to disrespect, when it comes to we can't make no money together, we can't have a family because I tell the kids something as a man, and you go behind my back and tell the kids, you're just causing confusion. Then we have to be wise enough, I would say, to understand when we gotta let it go. Because if and I'll say last thing, we're both 55 years old, 60 years old, and we find love. Oh, I love you, you love me. We're great together. I like you. 3 months into a relationship, you call me a BITCH. Where'd that come from? Well, I'm sorry, that's one of my triggers. You're 55, and you're still calling them men BITCHs? I'm just saying some of the worst thing you could think of, or vice versa. He grabs you by the neck as a woman. He grabs you and pushes you against the wall. And you're like, what in the world? Where'd that come from? He's like, I'm sorry, baby. You triggered me. You're a 55-year-old grown man. What are you doing still putting your hands on women? You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying, y'all. It's certain triggers from my perspective that we have to be careful of. And in that case, people like that who got all these triggers, they may run to another person. And like Brother Roddick said, they may get under him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only thing they can do is go to the next relationship.
And they don't want to allow themselves the space to actually do that work. Like it's easier to distract yourself than to really reflect on who you are, why these things happen, et cetera, et cetera. So for anybody that is in that situation, it's so important to take your time and reflect on what you learned or took away from that connection. And you're so right, Yosef. One of the telltale signs of a person who isn't really ready to do the inner work is they'll jump from relationship to relationship to relationship and do not like to spend time by themselves.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, I've definitely seen that. Great points.
All right, so let's help some people out here. I'm sure you all, I'm going to talk to you beautiful ladies first, that you all have probably in your past, and you don't have to say you did or didn't, spend time with a guy just to kill some time to get over the other guy. And he's there helping you heal, but you don't want him in the end because you already know. But it's a lot of fun. They're there. I didn't have nothing to do. Come pick me up. I mean, this is real. This happens out here, right? We know this.
This is real.
Yeah.
It happens. It has happened.
It is real.
It has happened. It's real. It's happened. I'm gonna speak from two perspectives, okay? Because the version of me that knows better now, the version of me that knows better has a different perspective. The version of me that did not know better, what I will say is, that happens. I'll say in my case, what I learned is that certain people may come into your life just to help you soothe a wound. Sometimes it's just like that. But, it's detrimental to the person who's doing the soothing when they don't understand why they're in your life and when you don't understand why they're in your life.
Right.
Like, that's where awareness and honesty is necessary. So I'll say that version of me wasn't even aware. Like you get out of the relationship, the wounds are still fresh, and you're like, I really just need some comfort, somebody to keep me company.
Right.
Oh, this is different from that. This makes me feel, I know I don't really like it like that, but it makes me feel better. And so that's like the part of us that needs to be soothed. Now, lack of awareness, you start doing damage and breaking hearts in the process. Sorry to these men. But, from a place of awareness, I think that these type of things can be communicated. You fresh out of a relationship. You might just enjoy this person's company. You can let them know, I'm not emotionally available. I enjoy your company. If that's all right with you, let's kick it. And then, now it's mutual. But it's when it's not communicated, hearts are just broken and they
may be all for it, these men. Oh, you just need a friend? I
Yeah.
can be that friend.
Yeah. Just wait around, be that friend. I mean, I'm just saying. I think everybody knows, except for the person who don't know, and they think they're the hero or heroes or She-Ra or whatever you want to call it. It just kind of works that way, and people just say, because I don't think you're just going to look at them and say, I am just wasting your time, and I do need to kill some time, and I do want a little bit something, different, so let's go out, and whatever. Now, of course, it is disguised of, I ain't looking for nothing serious right now. It's disguised, or right now I'm just trying to find out who I am. Well, do that by yourself. Just
Okay, but hold on. Okay, I feel you. I feel you on do that by yourself. And you know what? A previous version of me would have said that. But also, it's two people that are playing the game. So something that I really I just had a talk with one of my clients about this. I told her, you need to be very practical. Granted, you like this person, you see this about them, these aspects of your relationship are great, but you just brought this other thing to me that could actually be detrimental to the long term, to your mental health in the long run, if your partner does not heal. So granted, he can be showing up and on the back end, somebody could say, he should have worked that out by himself. But on the other hand, especially as women, we be knowing. We know.
Yep.
And so it's a matter of being very practical and real about what you're seeing, rather than being like in a fantasy, like it'll get better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Brother Yosef, what's your thoughts? I'm just, y'all, I just like to throw the real life things out there, just, so you married folks.
I get a lot of young men and women that call me about being spiritual. For some reason, people think spirituality is church. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no Christianity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they wonder about, hey, I like to have fun, Brother Yosef. I like to, what am I wrong for? I say, look, the best thing you can do, especially the men, be honest from the beginning about what you want. You like to go out there, you got a sister you see every Tuesday and Friday. Be honest with her. Look, I'm busy. I got stuff to do. I want to see you Tuesday and Friday. We're going to respect each other. We're going to love on each other. And then I got to go. You know what I'm saying? And she may say, I don't want none of that. That's not what I'm here for. Cool. Move on to the next person. But if you sitting there and know good and well that she wants a relationship, and you're trying to play it off like, oh, that's not what I want, or vice versa, then you're wrong for that, because now you're breaking hearts. You're causing confusion. And
isn't that what y'all categorize as dating last time we talked?
What?
That whole scenario, is that called dating? Remember you were just talking about that? Because people really don't care. I'm just throwing it out there. But go ahead.
No. In my opinion, dating is when you're courting someone, you're taking them out, you're trying to get to know them. But you may be in Walmart. Let's face it, we all grown. We know how this happens. You could be in Walmart, see somebody you like. Hey, how you doing? Y'all get on the phone. Hey, so what are you into? Oh, I'm busy. I got 100 million things to do, but I like you. You know what I'm saying? Can we go out and talk? And okay, you take her out, you talk. Look, I'm just gonna keep it real with you from the beginning. I think you're beautiful. This is what I want, and you lay it out there. And she got a choice at that moment to say, okay, I'm busy too. I'm a traveling nurse or anything. I like this setup. Let's respect each other and let's go from here. The contract is sealed. You know what I'm saying? Whoever feelings, that's on them. You see what I'm saying? And this happens, right? But when somebody's saying, oh, I want a relationship. Oh, yeah, me too. You know what I'm saying? Because you just want to get in her pants. Oh, yeah, I do too. Yeah. Next thing you know, she can't reach you. Or vice versa. He can't reach you. And what happens? People get angry. People get in their feelings because somebody lied. Oh, I know it's hard, and you may get a few no's, but eventually you'll get a yes. Somebody down with that program. So that's what I would say.
I think it's
gonna happen. You know what I mean?
I think it's a thing like that word.
Somebody is gonna be down with it. That's the thing. That's gonna be the perfect setup for somebody.
Right. I think that word player gets a negative connotation a lot of times, because I think the energy of it seems like you're macking or trying to take advantage of somebody. But a lot of times it's just based off of the man's energy. Like the man has to be real thorough and forthright in his pursuit of, a goddess. So essentially what happens is a lot of men don't have real divine masculine energy um, where they're able to, you know what I'm saying, really decipher what's going on between him, and the goddess. So, you know what I'm saying? Because what it sounds like to me is what y'all are saying is somebody getting simped or played with a little bit. And, you know what
That's
I
what
mean?
they do. Yeah.
Right. Real people that have a sixth sense, right? We wouldn't necessarily fall into limbo in that particular manner, because we got a bigger mission to fry, right? So a lot of times what happens is guys don't have no purpose, don't have no drive, um, and their woman becomes their purpose. So now naturally they're just clingy, you feel me? They don't really have no sense of self, right? What you doing? Where you at? You know, that kind of energy. So I guess if y'all are talking about them beta men, then naturally, you know, you could get a few of those dudes that will pop up and sit with you for a minute. But I'm in with the spiritual lens of this thing, especially when we talk about that player energy, niggas just not gonna go for that. Does that make
Well,
sense?
good thing the word player ain't masculine because that happens on the other side too. You
It's
know what
kind
I'm
of like
saying? It happens on
kind of
the
like
other
the
side. Yeah.
it's kind of like see, even when we think about the pimps and the players, they have a certain confidence about them, an air of knowing, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to play with yourself based off of, you know what I'm saying, this person is hurt in their particular moment. You want to keep it moving. Oh, okay, I see you're going through some. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And you just keep it moving, right? But it's not necessarily like a clingy, oh, I got a caller. Let me see what's going on. Hey, how you doing? Hello? Hello? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's so that be the
I,
kind of thing that gotta be kind of like a weird energy that a lot of fellas have to work on within themselves.
yeah, but what about these women that think like a man?
That's what I'm saying. You meet, hey,
Yeah. I'm
no,
just asking the questions, and I don't want y'all to be
like
looking at me
men,
like
though. That's what I'm
Roderick is
saying.
dealing with these crazy people out here. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I got my book of tricks too. I go back and if I keep it closed, but there are some women that make you open it. They make you go back like, you know, shit, I didn't want to do this. I retired this stuff, but dust it off because it's showtime, baby. You know, but you know, it's just I just
It's
ask the
a
question. I
success.
like
I
to
think a lot
throw
of
it both
guys
ways.
be
That's all.
truthful with themselves. They gotta be truthful, honest with yourself. Is she really into me?
Yeah.
Do I really feel a connection? Is there a vibe there? People be playing so naive and so delusional, but really, when you put the goddess on a pedestal, now your ability to discern if she really likes you or not is messed up because you're looking up to her in a space of like, you know what I'm saying? You can't see nothing else but that ass. So
Well,
you see what I'm saying? You kind of get blindsided by ass, and now all of a sudden you getting in a spin cycle. You getting that washing machine worked on you. You feel me? So what I like to do in my men's group in the Shivatism is approach the energy of like, okay, what you got going on? Who are you? And let the goddess become attracted to you. And you'll be able to tell. She'll be just on you. She'll be feeling your vibes. You feel me?
I usually just don't be quiet enough. But Quantas, once again, you know, you're here with us and not putting you on a spot or anything, but how's your dating like?
Well, as I have been put on the spot,
Huh?
um, I am I am in a place where I have just started to consider dating again.
That's straight.
Yeah, I'm in a space where I just decided that I was ready to date. I haven't dated. I was in a relationship 4 years ago, and Spirit said loud and clear, "That's not your man. Let it go." I was like, "Okay." And, there was no fight about it. I was like, okay, I was just in a space of deep obedience. And I heard, I also received, you're done learning lessons like this. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And so since then, I've just been healing to myself. And, it's been like the past couple of months or so where I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready to date again.
That's, and again, I apologize. I'm just kind of open. They already know, but it's, I say that because, we all in this community. Of course, they're married, and there's just things they can't say. They try to a little bit, but I can't, because they do got to go pillow talk tonight. You know what I'm saying? And, so they may talk a little bit, but it is like, why did you say that? And I know it still exists. And then Brother Joseph, he just does his thing quietly because he'll be like, yeah, I'm married. And so, for those of us who are not married, and of course, been there and done it and got the T-shirt, but at the same time too, I do look at, like I said before, when we first begin the conversation, that it is a hard notice here in our conscious community. And I think this is where it all started, is that there's just something there where it's almost, you can have 10 conscious people in a room, 5 and 5. Everybody's single, looking for love, but they don't look at each other. And it's something about, now don't get me wrong. I actually came up to this, and I just started learning this word normie recently, right? And it's like, man, it's time. Maybe you just need to get a normie, because you don't want a conscious person. And then I say that because you said something that kind of, we talk about it in the more harmonious jokes sometimes, but you with your girl and you, hey baby, and then she says, again, my spirit said you cheated last night. Like, where'd that come from? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And you be like, well, who is your spirit? Well, my spirit. And they be like, well, mine said I didn't do it. And, well, meet mine up there in the spirit world, let y'all work that out, So it's just kind of like, who are we talking to? Who am I in love with? Who in love with me? And who's talking and feeding who, and where all of this go? Because you can't have spiritual husband and spiritual wives who get jealous too, and plant that stuff in your head. That hey, that's not good. But I think when you know, when you know. So.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, just where I stand with it now is, even though I am a highly intuitive woman, and
Right.
there's a side of me that is just like loves the idea of romance and the fantasticality of all of the things.
Right.
Also, as I'm in the religion of spirituality as well, as I'm in the spiritual religion, something that I consider as I think about like partnership and forward thinking is how purpose forward my life is. And I'm curious as to, like, in the conscious community, if that's a thing where when your life is more purpose forward, then sometimes there's an aspect of self that may not want to bend and fold, just because you
Yeah.
become so purpose forward. But as I've just been listening to the spirits and listening to myself over the past couple of months, I've just been receiving questions about what quality of life I desire.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be of sacrifice to my purpose to have another person in my life. It's like, I'm not sure whether it was you or Brother Joseph that said everyone is just thinking about what they want and what they want to happen and how they want it. And I think that in the conscious community, that can start to happen as well. It's like, well, I want it like this. I want it just like this. I want my life like this. I'm not bending and folding, but you create, what I perceive is you create something different. Rather than what you thought your life would be. Like, purpose takes new shape. So that's where I am with it.
I mean, we get into the word manifest because that sounds like what you were just saying a little bit, that we have this tendency in the conscious community. We'll go write this list down to all of these things that, and I'm going to manifest this person, and it's going to look like this, be like this, be exactly like that, this tall, this, whatever. And they wait a whole lifetime. And then when they get reincarnated and be like, well, you got to go back because you ain't going to find it this time. or whatever, and they're here with a lifetime again, manifesting again. When do that list bend a little bit, or are we actually going to get that? You know what I mean? And so Desiree, what are your thoughts on that as a woman there and a manifester? Because you said you manifest your husband, or did he? I mean, did we just put that on a picture and then he just show up? Look, he talking about
Definitely did not happen by putting it on a paper and all of those different things. I think some things just happen how they're supposed to happen. I think vision boards and writing your list are all very good things, but God, the divine, the most high, is always going to send you what you need for your growth, for your healing, and for your transformation. I think these lists are good, but I think a lot of times people don't realize that these lists and these things that you say you have to have could be based off of a trauma response, right? And when we're doing things based off of the trauma response, it doesn't mean that it's actually pure and necessary to our spirit and to our soul. So I heard one of my teachers say this. She said, people will make a list saying that they need a man with honesty and integrity. And yes, honesty and integrity is great. But the reason why you've highlighted that as something that you need is because you were cheated on in the past. Right? So there's still this certain type of energy that is connected to these lists. What I will also say is that these lists that women mostly, I haven't seen a lot of men do this, that women write out, every little thing on that list to me is a sign from the divine of things that need to be embodied internally. And it doesn't mean that you have to have it perfect, that you have to be that thing 100%, but it should be something that you strive for. So something that I really admire and dream is his discipline and his consistency, right? The way that he can show up day in and day out to the same thing over and over and over again, whether it's the gym, YouTube, or eating a certain way. And that's something that I needed because to me, that symbolizes a leadership quality. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I can embody more of that within myself. So all of these lists, to me, of what we desire in a partner is really a hint as to what we are wanting for ourselves and within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just seen them playing. We just watched Pop the Balloon, and essentially that's all it is a big list. Who are you? It's like a resume, right? But essentially you're looking at somebody's essence when you're getting to know somebody, so you can feel something from them, right? You feel the aura before you can before they even speak. So if you can feel somebody's aura and energy before they speak, that means there's something invisible there that's creating a bond between y'all before this thing we call list. So there was as we just got through watching this Pop the Balloon episode, and as we're watching it, we're feeling some of the chemistry between some of the contestants, and we're knowing, oh yeah, these two will work perfectly. They're laughing, got to the end, they're making a great couple. The guy says, yeah, I'm a Christian. The girl says, yeah, I'm spiritual. Pop. And they ruined the whole, and me and Desiree was just like, wait a minute, y'all, I get it. Because that's the thing with the Christians, they hold on to their Jesus so tight. But my thing is, wow, y'all's bond and y'all's energy was radiant and vibing the whole time, the whole episode. Like she was asking questions directly to get back to him. And at the end, he popped because he was a Christian. He's like, man, you know what? Wow, we would have worked out so good. But I'm sorry, that spiritual thing, I love my Jesus. And I said, oh, the programming is set in so crazy. Wow, you done missed out on somebody that was going to actually help you heal, which is the same word as Jesus. And you just kind of missed the whole boat. It's just absolutely amazing. So I think sometimes we just got to be able to try, you feel me, and really feel in the people's energy and know that, it's beyond the ego.
So you telling me any of y'all, if y'all had to start over, would date someone who go to church twice on Sunday, on Wednesday, and then also every other whatever, and they're Christian?
I think it's more so about like what y'all energy like. You feel me? Because again, you might be her saving grace to actually get her out of the church house. So
Okay.
naturally, everybody's not going to be on the same level, but that doesn't mean she can't rise and ascend past your particular level if there was such a thing as levels.
We know the whole overrule the pole, so why she may convert you?
Huh?
That's true too.
Hey, shit, I love the strip club's life. Shit. We don't have no problem with
What
that.
are you
But
talking about?
I'm just saying, we don't judge. That's what I'm saying. What they say, we listen, but we don't judge. Because again, we all had a past, right? So if D-Ray was to judge me on my particular past, and she was to hold tight, like, nah, I can't fuck with you, nigga. Your past is too muddy.
Mhm.
Dirt on your shoes. You dirtying all my house, right? And naturally, she probably would have been missed out on her blessing, and vice versa with me. So essentially, sometimes we got to give, that dude that just got out a shot.
Kawani said, I don't know about that one.
She
Tried
said,
it.
What
Don't
you
work.
I'm gonna be like y'all. I'm gonna talk about spirit too. Like, you hear that shit?
I tried it. It don't work.
Oh.
She said she tried it. It don't work. I think there are some baseline things that you have the right to just be like, it's an absolute no. Regardless, I may feel a vibe from you. You cool, but if I find out you do crack, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not about to save you from that addiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things where it's a hard no, it's a boundary. I don't even care to explore. Maybe after you are reformed and somebody else that was willing to go through that healing process with you, cool. Do you understand? So I think everybody, you have a right to say what is an absolute no for you, but I think it's being mindful about the why.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a no for you? Why is that a turn off for you? You having strip club culture, that wasn't an absolute no for me personally, but that could be for somebody else. You know what I mean? So understanding your why, understanding what your deal breakers are, I think is so very important. But ultimately, the more self-aware we are, the better we are at connecting with other people.
Because what if a person is spiritual, right, and he meets a Christian girl? That, you know what I'm saying? As a spiritual man, you need to be able to get past that particular ego programming that they have based off of, everybody's not there. So I just want the fellas to understand that, and vice versa, the goddesses to understand, like, look, it might come in the form of a Muslim brother. It might come in the form of, a Christian brother, a Catholic, whatever, right? But that doesn't mean y'all's energy won't be able to transmute into something beautiful.
And I want to say this too, and that's why I tell a lot of people, don't be so spiritually high, earthly good. You know what I'm saying? To the point where you only dating people because they spiritual. That's a trap. Because a lot of people who spiritual ain't ready to be in no relationships either. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They still got a lot of growing. Some of them are ready, but some ain't. And more than likely you're gonna run into that person ain't ready. But they got the big crystals on and they ain't ready. You know what I'm saying?
What you're gonna find out is that the Christians are the one that's gonna reject you, right? Mm-hmm. When you talk about any kind of Ganesha and Buddha and all of that, that's when you get rejected. But
I will say, because I know couples that made it work. You know what I'm saying? It's rare.
mm-hmm.
But if a brother is a smooth operator, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He can talk to her. You know what I'm saying? And not impede on her religion, but they vibe with each other because you know what? I like your nurturing abilities. You like the fact that you feel safe around. I like our conversations.
I was in a relationship with
we ain't talking about our spiritual stuff or our, you know what I'm saying? We just like our vibe. I know people this happened with. And then later on, because most people know my story. When I first woke up spiritually, my wife was still in the church. You know what I'm saying? And we bumped heads about a year, but eventually she saw that I was serious about what I was doing. She came on a spirit side because she had all these questions and it started making sense to her.
Mhm.
So over time, one person will pull another person. But for the most part, I tell spiritual people, if you're gonna be spiritual, be spiritual. Don't just act spiritual, be spiritual, because
Right.
that will help your mate see that you're serious about it.
Exactly.
Most people don't be serious about what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's
know?
what happened to me. I was in a relationship with a Christian girl, and she would judge me because I wouldn't go to church with her. So then, but it was her parents judging me because I wouldn't go to church. I didn't really just, was conforming to that idea. So anyway, long story short, that's basically how we ended our thing. Because again, that Christian motif is so strong. That dogma energy is strong. Like, you don't even go to church. You're a bad person. And at the time I was, but you know what I'm saying? I could have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I just like listening to all you great people and great ideas and all of the things and just pretty much because once again, the world is a little different out there. I still stick with it. The conscious community not only is just there's a lot of things when it comes down to the person looking at that person saying they're woke and they not. I don't know where that came from, but it's just about the worst thing I can say. First of all, for all of you who are watching us, everyone you see here, we're going to be here in Dallas August the 8th. And we're going to have a great time. And we're just scratching the surface on some of these conversations that we're having right now. But when we in that live environment, you're going to get unfiltered, uncensored conversations, and you can ask your questions. We're going to have a lot of Q&A time and really want people to be transparent and, of course, honest. But you can also have a safe place. That's what's going to be most important for you to be able to express yourself and ask that question. Because oftentimes when we do look in the mirror and see yourself, you're still not getting the answer that you want from yourself, so to speak. And so you get an opportunity to talk with some people. We're going to do a Q&A here in a little bit for some of y'all. If you put the word questions, and if you have it for a particular person, just put their name in the chat there, and then I'll bring it up on the screen, and we can do that in a little bit. But I will say that, we talk about Metro retrograde right now. Brother Yosin talks about, anything can go wrong, at this point. And I didn't even really focus on that until all of a sudden it was that time and the car was doing this and this was doing that and the dog was acting up. Now we can hear other humans can act up. This is just the whole thing out here. Oh, and by the way, today, China just released the first woman, full-size AI woman. Y'all see that today? You can put a deposit on her with a return policy, by the way. But go look at it. I'm just telling y'all it comes in two colors now. And go look. I'm telling you, it was all on the news. This thing you can get up to 6 feet tall, and it talks, it kisses you. It's supposed to be, they call it relationship comfort. I mean, this is where we're going. And it has 80 movements. 80. I mean, some of you got women that got 10. We talking about 80. So I don't know where to go with that one, but I'm telling you, it just got released today. I'm sure it's gonna be a top seller.
I tried to warn people it was coming, brothers.
Yeah,
brothers, that's gonna be robots. Brothers, you better get your stuff together. These sisters they got a switch they could turn the brother off and turn them back on.
Hey man, you be like, okay, you got a return policy on this bad boy. I'm calling the manufacturer like, hey, this he's talking back. This is what it is, But but this is where they're going. It was, virtual reality. Now they're making this a physical thing, and this is the world that we're coming into. And you will be surprised that a lot of people will probably buy this mimic of a person, fall in love, have conversations, and protect, and probably leave money in their will to this thing because they're doing it to cats already. You know what I'm saying? But this is how messed up society is because we're looking out here for something, and I don't know. And these are going to be not just mental deranged people. I guarantee you, there's going to be some conscious people buying this stuff, and doing that. But have y'all not seen it? It's been it was released today. It was crazy. Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes in this illusion that we're in, that fake love or whatever it might be can stimulate a real love. So naturally, you love who you love, right? We see it all the time. People doing. We just thought we just seen a trans girl on this Pop the Balloon episode, and we was like, "Oh, okay, well, love you, you love." You feel me? Like, so you know what I'm
My
saying?
Scooby Doo like,
So with the AI and this technology world we're going into, I think we all came down here to understand it and just observe it, us personally, right? And as we go deeper and deeper into the future, these kids, you know what I'm saying, they might be in a different mindset than what we're in, you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, you would think like the organic thing is a thing, but as this thing keeps on progressing, we just got to understand, well, are they receiving light? Are they receiving some kind of healing, right? And shit, maybe. You feel me? Does it argue with you? Does it know when to argue with you, right? Does it know when to show you some love? Does it know when to hold your hand? Does it know when to, you know what I'm saying, give you all these signs? And yeah, it's a new day, y'all. Terminator.
You know, they came out with a movie years ago called AI, Artificial Intelligence, back in like 2000. Steven Spielberg. They showed you what's going to happen in the future with robots. Robots had a whole call service. You know what I'm saying? It looked just like a regular human being. Can't even tell the difference.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're going to feed these things to people without a shadow of a doubt. And there's always I'm sorry, but there's always some weird person out there that's going to really think they're going to marry a robot.
Yeah.
And in our first lecture we did, me, Dream, and D-Ray, we did a lecture, master student conference. I talked about robots having babies.
Yeah, I remember.
Way back in 2021. I'm telling you, this is going to be real in the future. People are going to really think that they're going to be able to get their robot pregnant. It's the craziest thing ever, but it's coming.
Well, we're already working the movie.
What was that movie?
You seen that movie, Hanyo Silva Quanis, Roderick, where it was a little baby was in the egg and it stayed at it was an Amazon Prime movie. Yeah. The little egg with the baby, it stayed at a facility and the families get to come and see it. And sometimes they showed this a lot. Sometimes the dad gets to wear the egg or the mom gets to wear the egg. And that's how they move around like they're pregnant. And then after the 9 months or whatever, the baby is born, they bring it home.
Yeah, so, y'all don't remember that?
It was on Amazon.
Y'all put it in the chat.
Quanis, what you was about to say?
It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
drop it. If you remember the name, drop it because I want to go check it out.
We're gonna find it. And it was such an interesting movie. It had what's that black guy in it? It had the black guy in it that the man that fell to earth. You know that black guy? He was the one in it. Very good. I don't know, is Cheetle? No.
Yeah, Chit.
Something like that. What I will say, something that I've been thinking about this for a while, but in a totally different context when it comes down to organic pleasure versus artificial pleasure. And what Spirit had been giving me was whenever you do something organic, is because you are taking your time, you're building a practice, and you're nurturing that thing. You're developing the skill of that thing. Whenever you go into something artificial, whether it's even ChatGPT or artificial pleasure through vibrators or an AI robot partner, this is for time management. This is when you're trying to get it done quick. You're trying to get it done right now. Do we understand? So for many people who will choose that route, part of it is not having the patience and the willingness to work organically with somebody else.
Okay.
I want to feel this. I want to get this done as quickly as possible. And so we got to pay attention to things like that in every aspect of our lives. Like, are we willing to take our time and nurture the things that we say we want, or does it have to happen like this? Because that's what AI is, and that's what these artificial relationships will be. Oh, there you go, baby. You found it.
Yeah, the pod generation. That's what it's called. It's this right here. Y'all see that?
Never heard of that movie.
Oh, yeah. Y'all got to see it.
This is
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, there go the baby in the egg.
Oh, wow.
and yeah, and yeah, it was trippy, but this is the future. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
y'all check it out, y'all, it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out.
So,
Yeah.
Roderick,
Okay, somebody has found it. Yeah, the pod.
Roderick, you got the most experience up here, brother. God dang, you
I
tell
mean,
us.
what about a pod? What's the question?
Nah. Well, in
What-
relationships, like what have you went through in the aspect, and what have you seen that kind of moved you forward and pushed you to who becoming this divine God that you are today? Because in your past relationships, you had to go through, the struggles and trials and tribulations of that, but you're still standing, right? You're still here, and you confident and ever, sharp, handsome, fresh. You know what I'm saying? You didn't fell off the face of the earth.
Well, I mean, you can get to a point where this stuff could, shape you, so to speak, because I've dealt with some individuals that have could have dictated how I treated the next person, so to speak, and just to sharpen your old knives, or of how you did things. I think for me today, taking on the presence, and it wasn't about what most people would say because I was raising daughters back then, but they're grown, so they have their experiences. But for me today, and where I stand today, it's a little different when you start to really want to experience. If you want to experience what I consider, what I think I want to experience, is true love, right? But then that meaning is a little kind of to everybody. Someone can love you the way they love you, and if that's not how you're receiving it, you could feel that it's not, but it's just the way they're doing it. But I will say the fact that I have been a little more cautious in dating, and I don't do dating the way most people would now, because hey, you can just have multiple people. I just don't think I want to disperse my energy that way. And I don't think it's fair to the person who I'm trying to get to know seriously, that I'm going to clout, because I got to give them opportunity to make mistakes, because usually we call it red flag when it could be growth, giving a person opportunity so that y'all can work through it. And oftentimes when you have all of these different moving parts, and even I don't have to commit to you to respect you, to see you by yourself as I'm getting to know you. You get what I'm saying? And so I run that same ideology all across the board. And it's easier to get to know you, to move on from you, to try to get to know you and prolong getting to know all of y'all, right? And so I've learned that pretty hard, as in recently. Now, of course, I'm always transparent. Me, if I met someone in a grocery store, and if they are in the material world, which is, I've learned empathy now, which is, we all one. And so at this point, I got to understand the way they see me. If they feel that, hey, I'm not, the muscle bound person that they wanted, but then they'll understand the love and who I am and what's going on. That's cool too, because we all are visual at some point, right? Then you can meet people who understand who you are, and you got to decide what you want as a man, what's going to complement. And then I started going through the whole thing of, I'm gonna marry my business and make my wife my mistress just to keep the fun going, right? And you tell somebody, they're like, what? I'm not gonna be your mistress. I said, think about what the mistress get, though. The attention here. It's just like, it's, so you got to come up with all these concepts. But I do believe that now, as a man, as I'm getting older, and then understanding what type of individual this is that you want, especially being in a community. I'm running a community, and there are some who don't want that responsibility, and the responsibility is what went on at our house last night can affect thousands. You know what I'm saying? And you can literally tell some of these women that, and you can see that the word responsibility is just not there, and it's more what you're doing for them than saying what they're willing to energetically control on this outside. So it's pretty, I think it's pretty much interesting. So I stand, of course I've been married, and I understand that. I think marriage is like medicine. It tastes bad, but it's good for you, unless you get some flavored medicine, you know. But at the end of the day, I am looking always to find that one individual that I want to spend that one time with and understand it and really enjoy life where we are. And But I do get a little discouraged in our conscious community because you meet people that is something about that oneness is real, and it carries on in our life there. So I don't know if that's what you was asking at this point, but I had my first 4-pound lobster yesterday. I had an individual come in town and she's like, "Hey, I want to take you out to whatever," and so you get the ones who do see who you are no matter what, and then you get some that I've wind up chasing people who I shouldn't have been chasing. Period. None. Blank. Pump. Blank. I've had people to judge me this way, and I don't judge them by the mind when I should. They don't know what they should know. And I took that for granted. Now I'm starting to look at people. If you don't know, I gotta now. Can I grow you? Are we gonna grow together? Or do I hold that against you as much as you hold the material world? Do I want to hold the spiritual world against you? And so I run that now because you do run into people that don't know what you know. And at this point, do you have leniency, like y'all said, as in, going through that trauma? Now we're not just talking about relationship trauma. We're talking mind trauma, right? The whole truth, cognitive dissonance, all of the stuff that is a fight to fight with. And when I can look at someone and say, nah, I don't want to deal with that, or do I want to grow? Now, I do run that acronym, and I'll shut it down from here, that I talk about CAR, C-A-R. And I do believe that I try to look at my potential person, if she's going to be cooperative, agreeable, and respectful. And if any of those are off, no matter what it is, you got a problem, because she's not going to cooperate with me. She ain't going to help me do some other stuff. She's not going to agree with me. She ain't going to cooperate with me. If she don't respect me, and none of that shit is going down, cooperation or agreement. So it's like you have to kind of look at where they are and what they do. In most cases, a lot of them fail in the cooperation area because they don't show up, and they claim that they do, but they don't. And especially for a man like me, showing up is not jumping in here with all this. It's just quality, simple time when I want to disconnect from all of this. And usually I control my time, so I can make time for a person. And all of a sudden now that thing that when you do that kind of triggers them to a point. And so you just got to be careful. So me and Brother Yosef, we talk about this stuff all the time, and like I said, I've been taught lessons now from several women that now you just got to hold yourself and look at it and say, you just don't want to deal with it. You just don't. It's a waste of time, and especially when you're growing what we're growing and you're affecting other people's lives. Mm-hmm. So that person is really important. That's going to be by our side. So yeah.
Right. I want to ask you guys a question, all of you. I would love to hear all of your answers, even you, babe. What is something you've had to heal within your relationship or even after your relationship in order for you to become, more of the person that you desire to be? So like Yosef, you said you had to heal, the suicidal ideations and things like that. Like, how did you heal that? Because you were married when it happened. How did you do that? Roderick, what is one of those things that you've had to heal either while in a relationship or coming out of it? And then the same thing for you too, Quanis.
I'll let the ladies go first.
So for me, deep codependency, honestly, if it were anything, it would be that. The codependency manifested itself as me just not being able to be alone, which is why I needed 4 years by myself to really work it out of my system and learn who I was, learn what I liked. I didn't even know what I liked. I didn't even have, I would say that I didn't have preferences, and I would say that I didn't need much. But, spending this time by myself, I was like, actually, I have a whole lot of preferences and I need a lot, just as far as Roderick was speaking about, like the mind, um, in the codependent state, I didn't take into account the way that a person's mind creates their life. And so if I'm agreeing to be with you, I'm agreeing to exist with you in the matrix you're creating for yourself. And so then it's like all of this chaos is happening because your mind is chaotic. But my mind must be chaotic too, because I'm over here with you. So I must be chaos too. Is the way I look at it. So the healing for me was really getting to a place where I was able to be like have intimacy without merging. Like I was a merger type of person, but I needed to learn to just be me inside of the relationship versus allowing who I was to merge with the other person.
Brother Joseph words, facts. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Facts. Yeah. I would say not only was it a suicidal thing, but I had to learn how to stop. I think procrastination was a big thing for me as a man. It was very dangerous. I was a big procrastinator, and I would just take life for what it was. I had no motivation, so I think that's something I had to overcome as well. Is like being more motivated. And I ain't gonna lie, what motivated me was the birth of my daughter. When it happened, I needed that. You know what I'm saying? And let me say this too. I think from I think I could talk on this because I just Tuesday, I celebrated 19 years of marriage, right?
Yes, congratulations.
Been through it all, right? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I think that if more people date based on what they need and not what they want, they can find what they're looking for. You see what I'm saying? I think when people date from the perspective of they want a man that's 6'4", nothing wrong with that, right? But I think that if you date more of, okay, I need a tall man, stop putting, you know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, nobody gets everything on the list. And I think there's a reason why, you know what I'm saying? Because it just ain't real. Because if you had the perfect guy, I mean, you got to live up to that, his perfection. And some women, or vice versa, you get this perfect girl, that's the girl of your dreams, you've been dreaming about since you were 17. And brother, now you got to live up to her. Everywhere you go, man gonna be looking, you got to deal with all that. Same thing with you, sister. You got to deal with this man 6'4", 6'8". Everywhere you go, women look, you got to deal with all that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because there's some women who have this. But all I'm saying is that you can still get those things and bless with those things if you just focus, I think, more on what you need, right? And I think when you focus on what you need, maybe you do need a tall man, right? Maybe you do need certain things. But I think people approach relationships with selfishness. This is all I want, right? And he got to be that, or she has to be that, or I'm done. And I think if we approach it more from just being what we both need, as we grow with each other, let's take care of each other's needs. I think people can go further with that. I just want to throw that in there.
Joseph, but how does a person determine what it is that they actually need? How do you get to know what your needs are versus your wants?
That's a good question. So I think it's already built inside of us, what we really need. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you need a more of a gentle man because a person does have some issues. And like I said, there's some things you help your mate work through, but there's some things you shouldn't stand for at all. But maybe you need that one nurturing man that can help you work through these things. You know what I mean? Maybe you need a man that's more of a motivator and not just a man that do a 9 to 5. Nothing wrong with a man do a 9 to 5. I did it for years. But maybe you don't need that no more. Maybe you're at a point where you need a guy that's on your level or a guy that can meet you somewhere because that's what you need. So y'all can have an understanding. You see what I'm saying? I think everybody knows what they need. It's like the Buddha said. Buddha said, wants, which is basically, wants is the cause of all suffering. You know what I'm saying? The more you want something, the more it's going to make you suffer. Because the truth is, you can never really grasp it. If you just go by what you need, a secret happens. Everything you find out what you really want is being provided for you. Now, I don't want to say, I want to be very clear, because people always find an angle, right? But I want to be very clear. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your life. Nothing wrong with going to pick up something nice for yourself. You may want certain things, but I'm talking about when it comes to real heavy life issues. I think, and that's how I keep peace in my life, not just my relationship, but with my business. with my family, right? I focus on what we need more than what we want. Even in my tribe, I focus on what does the tribe need. I don't focus on what everybody want, because now I become a slave. You see what I'm saying? I have to constantly live up to what people want instead of just knowing I feel good about myself, knowing I provided everything people needed. I was enough. You see what I'm saying? And I think when you approach a relationship from what we both need, you can be enough for that person, and that person can be enough for you. You know what I mean?
What's something you've healed, babe? Healed in our relationship or before our relationship, in a relationship?
Oh, trust issues, trust. You know, we grew up on Maury, Cheaters, Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer. So, and then seeing the OGs in the hood, they got 3-4 wives or 3-4 girlfriends. You know, it was always something. There's fights. You cheating on me, right? All of this stuff. You are not the father, right? All of that. So that programming seeps into your subconscious mind, and now all of a sudden, you don't trust nobody you date. So then you start to just carry out that reflected energy of like, well, oh shit, I'm out here doing me. So when I got with D. Ray, essentially, I was in my healing journey, right? She was in her healing journey, and we talked profusely on, you know, that aspect of it. We practiced a lot of different spiritual techniques and things that actually helped us heal each other. One of the biggest things D. Ray and I did, and this is my first ever spiritual, so, you know, anything, right? D. Ray. So essentially with her, as we're growing in this journey, we can actually understand the invisible intelligence that we have to heal from. So it was one of those profound things where I can like let go and release any kind of notion of not trusting a goddess.
What about you, Roderick?
You know, I think one of the main things for myself and, you know, reflecting on me and healing is trying to be that hero in these scenarios, because what was happening for me, I think, you know, especially after I got through with the last divorce. So I really, for years, you know, not really engaged into relationships, and, you know, similar to what Qantas was saying, for years, you know, and I've talked about that here on the show of, you know, clearing all of my emotional stuff and burning and writing letters to everybody. Hey, I apologize. Thank you for the experience. Boom. You know, it's all done so that I could spiritually move on to where I'm at. But I had to begin to stop the process, because once you start getting the gift of sight and you see the best in everybody, and that drew me to love people who I shouldn't have been loving, liking people who I shouldn't have been liking, because I'm seeing this other version of who they could be and not focus on who and what this is, you know. And it's sad to say that you don't want to put yourself into that, but you have to shut down these gifts that you do have to see the best in everybody, because in the reality, you know, it's how they see themselves, you know, at this point. And I had to start realizing that, you know, I'm trying to, because you want people to see the best in you, but then you do realize they see what they see. So so that mirror had to be learned on both sides of the fence, that shadow, right? And so ultimately, you know, I had to start looking at myself first. Why do I want to save someone? Do I need to be saved? You know, do you want that in return? Is that what you really want? Do you want to be there for someone, and then because you want somebody to be there for you, until I start learning to be alone, and then not lonely? It's the difference between lonely and alone. You know, you can perfect being alone. Then you become one, you know, spiritually, physically, mentally, financially, and then hopefully that day you'll meet that other person who is one themselves, you know, and not somebody who's all out there. And I think the last lesson of that for me also as I think about, even this little dragon I just print up. It's got all these thorns on it, right? And and I can say that I'm meeting people that are beautiful as roses, right? And you look at them and you think about it, and then you want to grab up them and give them a hug, and you forget there's a lot of thorns on roses. You got to know how to begin to approach somebody and touch them delicately in the right spots, that those thorns or trauma doesn't poke you. And so it's the same thing for me, learning that, all these beautiful people are like roses, but they got thorns. You got to touch them. And that goes back to me. I have trauma and thorns that, you will hope to meet the right person that's going to hold you delicately in the right spots. And so now, just healing. And, of course, I grew up just like Brother Yosef was talking about. My mom, tried to take her life at least 3 times, walking in on it as a youth, having cousins that committed suicide, a brother who called a few times is going to do this. And we're talking grown folks here. And I remember about 15 years ago, I just thought it was maybe a family thing. And I remember at an office I said, I got to get this off of me. And I stood up in a chair in my office, and I jumped off of it and hit the floor and just laughed and said, okay, now you got this shit over with. Let's go. And it was just, you had to act it out to survive it, so to speak. And so just healing from childhood traumas, things that I experienced, being married before, knowing that not every woman is the same. And then, of course, experiencing what I call the Leo factor. And Brother Yosef, I talked about this recently. Both of the people I was married to was born, they're Leos, and born August the 10th, the 12th. The last person I met is in August. The other person was, the last 8 people were Leos. Now, I think from this last one I met, I got the lesson now. I got it. And it's not so much a bad, but you can draw certain characteristics that you need to pull from those experiences, right? And so I did drew from quality experiences, but now I'm single. I'm really single, and so I warn anyone who meets me. I have time. I bought back my time to spend with you, and to get to know you. And I do listen well. I'm going to hear you. You're going to feel the way because I'm going to do my job. It ain't, I've heard people say, well, are you using some magic on me? I ain't never really liked somebody like you. Why am I feeling this way? Because I'm doing my fucking job. You know what I'm saying? It's like, really? And so you just got to you just got to be careful of who you give yourself to. And that's the lesson that I completely probably learned in the last year, and really was solidified in the most recent fashions, is that I'm just not doing it. Ain't anybody just going to get there. I do come as a prize, and I am going to treat you right. We're going to hopefully experience love, and my discipline is growing in other areas, and I am doing some jobs. Now, do I have some flaws? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're not going to run into a situation where you're going to have to wake up in the morning and wonder who you with, and so I will come into anybody's life to let you know I have worked to become for you, and so I don't think many people are going to stand on that at all, women or men. There are some out there, I'm just saying, but there's not some people who had literally prepared themselves to be ready for you, and if I choose you, that was my choice. It's not your magic, So that's a lesson. Just who I'm just learning now. Just be mindful of me, because I can hurt myself by loving the wrong person. Yeah. So
one of the things that I learned and healed through our relationship is a rejection wound, wrapped in a little bit of unworthiness and abandonment, just based off of, my father not really being present like that. Like, he was there, but there were moments where I needed him more. And then there were also, narratives that my mother used to say and things, storylines that I really held on to that I healed through my relationship with Dream. I vividly remember when he started his first business and was shipping off packages and things like that and would just be gone doing things for a while. I felt this loneliness, right? I felt like he was choosing his business over spending time with me. And one day he kind of, I guess, called me out on it and was just like, what is this energy? Why, when I'm going to go do this, it seems like you get triggered or emotional or a little bit snappy. And at first I denied it. And I was like, what are you talking about? No, that's not happening. I want you to go and do your things. That's not true. But when I really sat with it, I was like, oh, I'm feeling like he's choosing something over me. And this just, wasn't truth. It was trauma. And so that was one of the things that I was able to heal through our relationship. And a part of why I brought all of that up is because it was in those moments where I started to be like, okay, this person, might really be for me, because I'm showing this to him and I'm letting him know, like, oh, there's still this little girl inside of me that wanted her father to choose her. And that same kind of story is showing up right now. And he did not take that information and like exploit it. And he was very conscious, right? Like, he would do things to reassure me, like, okay, babe, I'm gonna be back. All right, babe, I can't wait to get home and spend some time with you and we watch a movie. He started to do things to support that healing until eventually I became strong enough within myself to be like, go do whatever the hell you want to do, right? Go be away for a day. Like, you good, But that was one of the ways that I was able to tell, one, that I was healing, but also that I was supported in that healing. So, I want to know from y'all, especially Roderick and Kiwanis, like, how will you, and then Yosef, of course, you can share too with your wife, how will you know that you found the person that is actually meant to support you and, be that rock, or be a person that can be a reflection for your healing? Like, what are some things that you can look forward to in your upcoming relationship that will let you know, okay, this person actually has my back in this healing process? And then you, Yosef, you can tell us what happened with you and your wife that helped you to realize, like, oh, this is her, because she really stood with me through this.
Honestly, you hit the nail on the head. Just when certain triggers come up, and seeing that you are supported in that, and supported in a way, not to where it's like Dream wasn't like, let me do this for you, but there was a reassurance present. And I think that sometimes people don't, for whatever reason, don't want to provide reassurance for whatever reason. It's like, sure, you can see it, sure, that this is present, sure, you can work through it on your own. And I look at myself as a person who I can work through the stuff by myself. Yes, I can. But even now in my friendships, I feel most loved and I feel supported, and I know that this person is really here for me, when regardless of how much strength I display, regardless of even how much vulnerability I display, I am reassured that it's okay for me to just be human. It's okay for me to feel this, and I'm considered. It's such a level of consideration as well. Like, when Dream, was saying, saying, hey, I'm excited. This is it's reassurance, but it's also this level of seeing you. Like, you know what? I don't have to do this. I don't have to tell her XYZ. She know I'm coming home. This is what people could do. She know. I show up all the time. She know what's up. But it's like that extra layer of consideration. So for me, those are ways that I know, whether it's romantic or not, because friendship, anything for me has to start as a friendship. So I look at whether I'm considered in my friendships in that way. And even just we can always be ourselves, but I feel most loved and seen when who I am is exactly what someone wants. Even in friendship, there you will be in certain relationships where certain aspects of you trigger a certain person. And you can't really do anything about this part of you triggering them other than to change, you know, sure. You can change and adjust, but sometimes it may be outside of your authenticity to adjust this specific thing that is just triggering to a person for reasons that have nothing to do with you. But to, you know, come into relational aspects where this thing is like, you know what, that was triggering for them, but you love this about me. And I love it that you love this about me. So I feel, you know, I feel seen. I feel like this is something that's more effortless rather than change. Yes, but I feel like sometimes something calls for way too much adjustment. It's like, all right, you're asking me to adjust things that really truly aren't a problem. It's problematic for you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I look just for like that natural resonance in knowing, okay, friendship wise or whatever, this is a person that's supposed to be in my life.
Yeah.
Wonderfully
Yeah,
said.
that's good, Quantas. Because again, a guy would have to, especially dealing with you, Quantas, a guy would have to be able to be comfortable with somebody that's a social media influencer that travels and speaks to other people and other men and all of that. So he's gonna have to be real thorough and strong in his foundation to be able to, you know what I'm saying, get in that particular space of uh, that yin and yang balance that y'all have to have in order to become whole. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Quantas.
And I mean, I've dated people that haven't been okay with it. And I truly do not care. This is how I feed myself and my daughter. So, you know, these are certain things that I am not adjusting unless you gonna take care of me. And either way, I don't want to be taken care of like that. Like I still want to do my purpose work, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I've dealt with the other side of it and I've tried to coddle it. It's like, well, you know, I'm not, you don't have to think and it's that thing of needing someone who loves this about me rather
Right.
than someone who sees it as an issue. Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Yes, and I think for me it was loyalty. Loyalty. I'm a natural, very loyal person. Anybody I'm friends with know that I'm a very loyal friend. I'm a very loyal husband. You know what I'm saying? I'm just big on loyalty. And the more I saw my wife was loyal to me, the more she showed me that she was down for the ride, no matter what was going on. That made me know more. Okay, I got the person I'm supposed to have. Because I know I'm a good person. Like I knew about myself. I'm gonna always do what I need to do the right way. You know what I mean? And I'm not going nowhere. Even as a friend, I'm not going nowhere, right? But I think for me it was when she left the church. When she left it, don't get me wrong, there was other moments where, you know, Brother Joseph I remember I had she was coming out of college and I had bought my car got repoed, you know. So I said, dang man, we hang out every time she come home. I had bought her this pizza man's car, missing a window, had a plastic bag on the side of the window. And I was so embarrassed to pick her up. But when she hopped in the car with no problem, I was like, man, you know, she don't even care about the window missing. I can't even see out the window with a big plastic bag there.
Yeah.
I don't even care. She was happy to be with me. That meant the world to me. But when she left the church, you know, I was newly spiritual, newly conscious. I didn't even fully figure out who Jesus was yet. No, I just knew I didn't need to be in a church. And when she left the church and chose to follow me, I think it was 2010, 2011. That's when I was like, you know what? If hell was real, this girl's willing to go to hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I said, you know what? This is it. She can have the world. That's kind of what it was for me. It was loyalty, you know, and I needed that in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And I said, okay, she's loyal to me, I'm loyal to her forever. So that's what it was for me, loyalty.
Beautiful, beautiful. Roderick?
I can. I think now, for starters, I don't want to be a peacock anymore. You know, where you have to just keep showing yourself everything to be seen for them to make that decision. I feel now that it's like us being in the ocean. It's a big ass ocean out there. But I look at when you think of submarines has no windows. They can't see, but they're out in the ocean navigating. And I'm looking for that type of relationship where we don't see, but we're gonna ping each other to let me know where you are, and you're gonna ping back, let me know where I'm at. You know, because we need this effort now to go both ways. It needs to be that mirror. I know, you know, and you know, because I hate to mirror somebody. You don't call me, I ain't calling you. And don't be, don't be, if you ain't got time, I ain't got time. So hopefully now you get to a point, you meet the person that, because we in this blind situation, and they understand that, so they're going to give you a ping and you can ping back. I heard you. I'm with you. I'm there for you too, and if you can get that in micro doses, you can build to something, because at that point you're going to know if things change. You're going to know when the shift change. You're going to know if somebody's uncomfortable. You're going to know along the way, because everybody's pinging in this dark ocean, because when I use the ocean metaphorically, there's a lot of people out there. We got people DM people, emailing people, and texting, and everybody's just open to receive. It's like a dating site. You just as good as the next profile hit. So now I just don't want to play that game anymore. I don't want to care any of it. So we're just gonna go like the old Wild Wild West. You take 5 steps back, pull your gun, I'm gonna pull mine. You know what I'm saying? You put yours down, put mine down. We walk up and hug, I'm gonna hug you. It's like let's us do the dance, and keep pinging, instead of me have to sit here and be a peacock all day, and then all of a sudden, I'm looking at you, you ain't even got no feathers. It's like what? So that's just me. I'm just looking now for the dance of just, we're moving together. So, that's it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Roger,
all right, so if y'all got any questions, we'll take a quick question for everybody to get out of here. Y'all thank Quannas for being here and taking time from the family. This is the first time you all get an opportunity to meet her, and we're gonna double down on more conversations to lead us into August the 8th. You can get your tickets right there, scrolling on the website there, newlovelife.org. Make sure you go in there and get your tickets. And if any of you get yours while you're on the air now, definitely put it in the chat so we can give you a personal shout out and congratulate you on your personal journey of being a better you. Okay. Because now we're just going to move into what I call Project You, which is your own uniqueness or your own universe, whatever you want to call it. But I think at the end of the day, we all are here. So you're not hearing from me being an expert. You're not hearing from Quannas being an expert, Brother Yost. Everybody has experiences, and we all are sharing that as one collective consciousness to grow from each other. And there's no ridicule. I don't think nobody's ridiculing each other to be more than what we are. And I think we have a little bit of somebody for someone to learn from and everything else. And so if you are going to come out, see the cues, make sure y'all put a cue in front of the question. We'll get to as many as we can real quickly. There we go on the screen there. One of y'all, the ladies, y'all can read it out, whatever you want to do.
Sure. Says question for anyone from Monkey 0828. When you're such a nurturing woman, how do you separate the woman, the mom part of you with the man? Because I do believe that is one of many things that canceled my last relationship. Wow. Good question. I truly believe that there are aspects of us in our relationships as women that will, to a certain extent, mother our partners. I heard this guy online say that he doesn't like when a woman is constantly asking him, hey, did you eat? Can I feed you? All of his basic necessity things. Because to him, he was like, those things were feeling like the mother that are just doing way too much, trying to wait on the man hand and feet. You understand what I mean? Over showing up, acting as if the man does not have the capacity to do certain things for himself. So I think it's having a fine balance between, okay, I make dreams plates, but there are some times where I'm like, babe, you're going to have to take care of that. So I think finding that balance, understanding that men need to be able to take care of their basic necessities themselves, but also just knowing who that partner is. There are things about Dream's mother that I feel like in our relationship, I support him in healing some of the wounds that he's had with his mother. Right. So I think it's just all about balance. It's about you also knowing as a woman, are you overcompensating with the mother energy? Are you feeling the need to parent a man? I think a lot of that energy comes from that savior type mentality that many of us women have been naturally raised with being and with embodying as girls. Like you're raised young on how to be a mother or how to be somebody that nurtures and cares. So I think it's about finding that balance for sure.
Brother, there was a question there. If you can go back up about Victoria, it's a pretty good question. I think a lot of people run into that.
Which one?
If you can scroll back up to how do you get past falling for a friend because of all these
characteristics. I want to hear
characteristics.
your perspective on that as well.
I wanna touch on that real quick before we move forward with the nurturing piece. Thank you, sister, for asking your question and sharing. And what I will say is that what you will notice, just if as a nurturing person, as a nurturing woman, when you really pour into yourself, and this is even in a relationship, out of a relationship, the more you nurture yourself, you will see how much energy you actually have to mother another person. And in regards to the nurturing, it feels less like mothering when the nurturing is mutual. And a lot of that energy really can be poured back into the self. So once you really just take a lot of that desire to nurture, often if it's not reciprocal, it's a desire to be nurtured. And so it's this inward desire for you to feel nurturing energy. When you do that for yourself, you will notice you will notice how much the desire to project that energy outward isn't necessarily there, and you'll have like a different type of dynamic.
That's good.
Genius.
Yeah, that's good.
I want to say something on that too, if you real quick. I'll make it real fast. I think any man that doesn't want to be nurtured by his woman is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I was saying that a while ago, like, what? Eat me, bite me.
Right.
Here,
That's her job.
Chicka.
Nothing's wrong with that, man, in my opinion. Because if you're working hard every day, the most beautiful thing about being with somebody that you with your lady, you come home and get nurtured by her. You know what I'm saying? Baby, did you eat yet? Right. Well, man want to be fed. You know what I'm saying? Did you eat yet? Here, make sure you take your medicine before you go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you take your vitamins and
that man hated that.
I don't know what my socks is at half. I gotta ask my wife where my socks are at. And they in the same place every time, right at the top drawer. We go on a vacation. She telling me what thing we going. I like to be nurtured because on the other end, I'm making a lot of hard decisions. I'm making sure we got income coming in. I'm making sure you provided for everything else, and I want to be nurtured. So I love being nurtured, and I think what it gets weird at real quick is that when it becomes control. When a woman tells you what you better be doing and what you need to be doing, that's not being motherly. That's being you trying to control that man. But just taking care of them and nurturing, I think that's beautiful. I think that's great.
Great point.
I know. I was like, so when she was telling the story, I was like, something wrong with that brother. What the hell? What?
Yeah, he was like, he did not want to feel, and I kind of understood it because he was kind of presenting it from a place of a woman acting like this man didn't know how to take care of himself. So I guess it could be one of those situations of, like you said, control or overbearing or, things like that. But
did you put on deodorant today? Like what? Be like, bitch, what? Go ahead, read that one.
Okay. How do you get past falling for a friend because all of the characteristics they possess? How do you get past falling for a friend?
Should you get past them or do you give them an opportunity? I don't know.
A friend.
That's a good question. Should you be trying to get past them? Are you wanting to get past?
I'll answer that.
Go ahead.
I'll answer that from the getting past perspective because I understand it. The way that I look at it is if I find myself attracted to a person, my first question, if they're attractive, cool. But when it's a friend or anything like that, my first question is, what is it about this person that I feel like I don't possess to where I'm feeling drawn to them in this way? Aside from just pure attraction, but if it's feeling like an attachment, because that's what I'm kind of getting from this. How do you get past falling for a friend because of all the characteristics they possess? It's looking like you see things that you like about them. And often when we do that, when it's not going to be our partner, and maybe we don't know your whole situation, but I look at it from the mindset of something about them is drawing me in, and is this something that I feel like I need? When you call it characteristics, so are these things that I can do for myself in a way? Like if you enjoy how grounded the friend feels, or you enjoy just different characteristics, I ask myself, do I not possess that? And I look at it that way first. And if the attraction persists, and it's like, okay, the attraction persists, but first I, just check it with that. Is it something that I need to fulfill within myself?
Yeah, sometimes what happens is a guy will say, yeah, we just friends with benefits. And then essentially, the goddess will feel like this lady is saying, that possession, like, man, I just love everything about him, and I don't want to step on his boundaries and nothing like that. So I'm gonna just keep on giving him this good loving. And sometimes you're just gonna have to fall into the space of you taking back your power. You feel me? Because that hammer can come in and just make you just be digmatized. Now all of a sudden you just, oh, I just love my friend. Oh, that's my friend, girl. Going over to his house midnight. Y'all know shit. That's exactly how it happens. So essentially what it sounds like she's saying is that she's going to have to take back her power within herself. And what I'm saying, ask herself, like, if this man really loves me, or shoot, do I need to and do I need to just move around? You feel me?
Now, we all know about being a friend. We all know about being a friend, and that woman is not seeing you that way. Yeah, you got you're everything that she would want, but she want that other dude over there that ain't gonna treat her right anyway. The hardcore, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, but it's a little bad boy and all. I'm both, but I'm saying, it's just that she wants that, because that friend is showing up. He's doing all these things, and he's got all those characteristics that he possessed, and like I said, should you pass him up or should you not? Only because, we know we just friend, and usually these guys, they're hanging around for the opportunity anyway. At some point, I would think, I'm gonna bag up out of that one. Let me just bag up out. Let me bag up out of that one, because
if you find somebody,
brother.
Let me get out of there.
I'm gonna get out of that one. I need to get out of that one, because it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world.
If you're single and you find somebody attractive, I mean, you gotta be able to have a space to let them know, what I'm saying? Hey, I see more than this. And then that will defeat that friend zone thing. You know what I'm saying? So the flirtatious vibes.
You might not want to end the friendship. You know what I'm saying? It might be safer to keep that person in the friendship place. You know what I'm saying? What if you know that this guy is better for you as a friend than to be in a relationship with? That happens. Same thing with the brothers. You know that you shouldn't mess with this sister because she's a good friend to you. And if you get in a relationship, it could mess it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That comment definitely makes me feel like there's some sort of misalignment, or the energy is not being reciprocated. Because on one hand, if a friend has all the qualities that you desire and you're falling for them, why are we not exploring that to a deeper level? Why is this friend not converting into something else as it should? That was us. We were friends for 4 years before we got into a relationship. So I'm wondering what's happening in that relationship to where that friendship is not evolving. But I will say this. I have a good friend who I went to college with, who we just spent time together this past weekend in Miami. And her and her husband were friends since we were in college, right? But in college, he was a hoe. Okay, let me just be very transparent. In college, he was the guy that had multiple women, and my friend was like his confidant. She was the person that he can come and talk to and tell all the things that he's been doing with. This was his friend, and she saw him in a multitude of ways. She saw him in that type of behavior and in that type of mentality. And we were kind of thinking about it this weekend because a lot has happened in their marriage, from infidelity, him not being present, him not being the man that he needs to be. And when we thought about it, we were like, man, because they were friends at years ago in college, he never valued her. And I don't even know if it's because they were friends. I think it's a character flaw ultimately. But I think that friendship started this belief system in his mind of not holding her in high regard, right? Feeling like she done seen me in college when I was doing all of this, and she still stayed my friend. She still stayed somebody that I could, always talk to. And so they let that turn into a marriage, but he didn't value her the way that he needed to value her, because she gonna be here regardless, because she been my friend.
Mm-hmm.
She been my friend for forever. She gonna be here regardless of what I do. And so my friend, a light bulb just went off in her mind to where she's like, this man been taking me for granted. All of these years, that friendship energy has made him believe that he can do whatever the hell he wants. So, in that friendship phase, you need to be looking at the type of person they are. How are they treating the people around them? How do they actually treat you as a friend? How do they treat the women in their lives, their family members or whatever? Because if it's a case like that, then yes, sis, you don't need to be falling for them.
Mhm.
And my friend, she fell, and so much has happened since then.
I will be looking at her like, girl, that dude was a damn dog. What the hell? All this time you watching this dog grow fur, his tail getting longer, his whiskers getting longer, and you gonna hang around till he on his downtime, and then he choose you as a consolation prize, and you didn't figure that one out.
Dog back.
It's tough.
Do they have children?
Dog.
Listen.
Yeah, they got 3 children. Oh,
they have 2 children, and now pregnant with another.
Dogs breed. They really do.
And it's been a thing of, him not really being able to be the man that he needs to be for her. But
she got the man of her dreams. He didn't get the woman of his. That's the whole point. She got the man of her dreams. He didn't choose the woman of his, and it became just a constellation prize.
And then going back to like what Kwana said earlier, a codependency thing.
Yeah.
Right. When I look at when I look at both of them, I can see kind of that energy. So for the young lady or whoever that was that asked that question, there may be some qualities about that friend that you like or that you admire, but if those things aren't, if that person isn't being who you need in partnership, that should also be one of those things where you're like, okay, let me move around, or let me keep this relationship platonic.
All right, let's take this last question right here. It says, do y'all believe that long distance relationships can work? What are y'all thoughts on that?
I would say with the right people, yes. The people that have resources to make it work, it can work.
That's good right there.
FaceTime is free.
Hey.
But every now and then you got to touch somebody.
You got to reach out and touch, huh, Yosef?
Resources.
The brother on the phone said, look, ain't nothing but a flight to get to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then, he can make it work. Everybody can't take that.
Spirit went out of business.
Yeah, exactly. That Comfort Plus kind of went up. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
you better have some intentions on that bad boy.
I definitely know that it can work. I was just at a bachelorette this past weekend, actually, for my friend who is in a long distance relationship. She lives in Indiana. Her guy lives in Texas. They met here in Houston. And it was one of those beautiful situations to where we actually talked about this weekend. I vividly remember my friend coming to my house and saying, I'm leaving all of these men alone. Like, if they not giving me the energy that I know I want and that I deserve, I'm cutting them off. And she did that. When I tell you the very next weekend, her sister was having a New Year's party or something like that. And her sister's boyfriend, best friend, came to the party. And he saw my friend and he told her, yeah, I've been peeping you. I'm trying to get to know you more. Immediately they connected. I mean, that was 2 years ago. They've been dating long term. He done proposed and everything, right? But it's so true with one of y'all just said about having the resources to be able to do what they do. They're both no children. They both work good jobs. They make enough money where they can hop on a plane every few weeks and connect with one another, right? So it's definitely possible. I think you just have to want that. I think communication has to be on point, right? And you have to, you know, have something deeper that really connects you and draws you to one another.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, either that, I would say for each and every one of you, we're not going to hold y'all too much longer. We're at the top of the hour of 2 hours, which has been one of our longest conversation and great conversation. If y'all can give us in the chat, give us some feedback. Are you enjoying these conversations? And are you looking forward to just, because like I said, we're just scratching the surface. Imagine when we get into our uncensored environment, you know, and, you know, D-Ray and her husband, and they teach y'all some real, you know, they got that sex magic stuff. Y'all know that. So, you know, y'all gonna come in and learn some stuff, and you know, just maybe, you know, you just, you know, get what you're looking for. But I think at the end of the day, the most important factor is that you are a wonderful person. I always tell you all, I love each and every one of you. I love what I do, but I also love you. And my haters, I love you, even though I don't want to meet you, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, we're just everyday people. And so don't think just because we influencers and we are doing what we're doing that the world opens up to love for us too, because at some point we do have that opportunity of meeting so many different people. And so that kind of gets a different story. But, you know, I don't want just one. I'm sure some people just want one. But I have been driven to go back to the old African days, get me 12 tents and, you know, go down to tent 2 this month and tent 3 that month and, you know, 1,200 concubines, you know, let me just go back to the king days if that's the case. But, you know, but I have decided not to let a woman drive me back to those days, you know, and so I'm just going to be truthful to who I am today. But it's interesting, you know. So again, make sure y'all come to Dallas. You know, we will have everyone from Houston up here, and Qantas will be in from Atlanta. And we all kind of get to meet and see each one of you. Qantas, I know you have a new book. I've seen you do your stuff on it. And so you want to share that with us real quick?
Yeah, the book is called What Was Planted Here Before I Arrived, A Journey of Reimagining Your Patterns. And it's I guess you could say it's an all-encompassing spiritual healing guide. It's a self-help memoir. So I'm sharing a lot of my stories with my life, my clients. I share that I'm a medicine woman, ceremony experiences, and just extracting the wisdom from some very real experiences is written in the voice. It's written in my voice. So, you know, written in the voice of a sister friend, auntie, for those of y'all that are like in your younger 20s or whatnot. Like, I can't believe I'm being called auntie these days. But,
Yeah, me and you both.
right. I'm like, I don't even look old enough to be auntie. But you know, people have said that it's a great resource. It's a great resource for them along their journey. I recommend reading the book in a way to where you would just open it up for a random page of the day and receive the message. It can be read linearly because it is a full journey, but it can also just be used for whenever you need a good word.
Yeah, divination style.
Yes.
And I stand corrected. It's Qantas, and I said Qantas, but it's Qantas, and I stand corrected. Make sure I pronounce the name there. Brother Yossi, you want to leave with any last words, and then we'll move on to the.
No, I just enjoy these conversations so much. I love and respect everybody on here, and I would definitely encourage everybody to come down and have these conversations. You know, face to face with us. You know, come have this conversation face to face with us. Come have this conversation. You know, it just you might want to do a one-on-one with me or Sister Qantas or Dream and D-Ray. You know, you may want to pull us to the side and talk. And that's happened at the past ones. You know, come on out and have a good time. Guarantee you're going to meet some good people. We're going to have a good time, y'all. So come on out. Come support us. And more importantly, come support yourself. You know what I mean? You're going to get some good information, family.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too. Somebody just said they a grandma, they 50 years old. Come on out. At the last one, we had a lady that was in her 70s out there. Black woman in her 70s. She's looking for love. You know what I'm saying? So you're never too old. Come on out. You'll be surprised. You know what I'm saying? Come on out, family. Don't just think it's gonna be a bunch of young brothers there. No, every age range coming. Come on out, family.
Mm-hmm.
Look, y'all just made me. I just felt a little older just then. Like, damn, you know, just whatever. But that's okay. That's okay. Little wisdom in doing that. So, Brother Dream, you know, and then we'll get to the
Hey, newlovelife.org.
What do you want to leave?
Newlovelife.org. Newlovelife.org. See y'all in Dallas.
All right. And Desiree?
Yes, family. I definitely want to stress that multiple things will be happening at this event. Each of us will be standing on the stage and giving a little talk about our perspective on love and relationships and things of that nature. But also it's very interactive. So we're going to have microphones that will go around in the crowd for you guys to ask questions. We plan on doing some interactive things at the last New Love Life event. We gave out some cards and everybody stood up and answered. Don't know if we'll do it that much on this time, but we definitely still plan on there being an interactive segment and then also a networking segment where we just let the music play, let y'all come grab a cup of wine or something like that and just vibe with each other and listen to the music. So it's not just one thing or the other. This is an entire experience and we're excited about it. Most definitely, you're going to walk away with a new relationship or a new connection, whether it's a friendship, whether it is a platonic relationship between male and female. It's just opportunities to connect with like-minded people, right? You know you'll have something in common because you're there, okay? So definitely wanted to let the family know that.
All right. So there we are. Y'all have it. We're going to be back soon. Like I said, we're going to double down on as we are getting closer to those dates. And like I said, if you were here before and you got your ticket already, let us know about it. And so again, so we can congratulate you on the future of you, you know, in those things there. Again, it's been a plum, pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege, you know, being here and serving you as I would say. And y'all think Quantas is here with us too, and Brother Joseph and the couple. I call them the couple, but they're married. They're married, and maybe they're gonna show y'all some real tricks for you married folks. You know, you know, so y'all come and learn and learn. And if you want to be married, come get the tricks because you gotta be married to get married. Come in with the tricks, okay? You know, or whatever. And so there you go. There's the books. And they're gonna. What is that subtitle? The Wild God.
The Wild God of
Power and
Ecstasy. This is a good
Damn.
You know, we got a whole bunch of different tantric books and stuff like that.
So that goes with the word oh God, instead of the power of the wild God. Okay. All right then. So yeah, if you want to get the power of the wild God and come on and oh God it or whatever, I don't know. you guys can come with it. So anyway, we're gonna talk about y'all behind y'all backs because we're gonna get out of here, but we're gonna all be in our own area. But again, we love you all, and I will see if you're on my channel tomorrow at 5:00. And we'll be doing that, and hopefully 4th of July, you guys stay safe. And make sure you look up if you want to see some UFOs. They really like to come out during fireworks because they can hide under the stuff. So pay attention to the fireworks. All right, we'll see them next time, y'all.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, family. Peace.